pandemic theater with seeing plays first with Erin Cronican. You've been around for like how many years now?
We're in our 11th year now.
And we've been following you from the get-go, and we have just, I started, and sometimes my people are reluctant to see things. I say, no, this is good. And every time one of my reviewers has seen your show, they've come back raving.
That is so amazing. Thank you for your support for so many years.
And your Zoom work is really becoming good too. It's really, really, really startling. And it's marvelous. It's watching all of this Zoom work has been a great thing for us, I think, being able to see it get better. But yours has really gotten good. You've got all these wonderful backgrounds, and Mr. Walker looming above everybody. It's great.
Yes, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
How did you
The last show I've seen you in on the Zoom was Amiri Baraka's play, which takes place in the subway.
Yes.
What's the name of
that?
What's the name of that?
It was when he was Leroy Jones.
Yeah. You were incredible. I mean, I've seen you so many times. You're always great. And I somehow the other, I don't know why, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't recognize you. And then then afterwards I realized it's you. So I think I sent you another message. And I said, oh my God, this was it was the best performance of that show. I've seen that show a few times before, but you are very, very good. And so is your partner.
Thank you very much.
I really admire your work.
I was really thrilled to work with Timothy Warehill on that play.
So how does the scene plays come together? And you have such eclectic taste from Shakespeare to Stoppard to dystopian plays.
Yeah, well, we try to pick plays that have a pulse on what's happening in the community right now. So we try to, we look at what's happening in life, and we really focus on social justice plays. And hopefully they are plays that resonate with people in the here and now about what's going on in our society. So that's why the plays themselves are so eclectic, but they all have that through line of having something related to social justice issues.
Wow. So tell, what was the social
You also did My Name is Rachel. Yeah, you did the play My Name is Rachel Corey.
Yes, we did.
That was just really very wonderful performance also,
Thank you.
Very important also. Yeah.
So what was the social justice behind Dog Act, which I've got to say, that was a wonderful play because it sneaks up on you. I hate dystopian plays. And I was like, ugh. But then the payoff at the end, I was crying. Mark was a curmudgeon. He was crying. I mean, I've only seen him twice cry in the Waverly Place and some other play I don't remember. I'm like, how do you find these things, especially that one, because that one I've never even heard of.
Yeah, well, we've known about that play since its inception because Brandon was in one of the original productions of Dog Act. And because it was a play about a traveling band of artists looking for an audience after this essentially a pandemic happens to them as well, we thought that it was very timely and very much how we all are feeling right now with having to stay in our small bubbles and not trusting other people. And I think that it's a play about trust. It's a play about love. It's a play about how do you persevere after something so horrible happens to your community.
The last show you did was Sweat. It was so, the first time it came out was at the beginning of the horrible Trump era, and now you put it back at the end where we had more hindsight. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, we thought that it was important. Even though the administration has changed, things for American workers have not changed. There's still a fight between the capitalism and the socialism. Those two ideals are still fighting against one another, and we're still trying to figure out how to protect our workers, how to make sure there still is work, and especially now during a pandemic when so many people are out of work and so many people are incarcerated. That was also a big theme of the play, is how do you deal with when someone comes out of the carceral system? How do they survive? How do these characters survive in that case?
I agree with you 100% because you see, I'm a foreigner. I've lived here a very long time, and I am not trying to become non-political That was very political. But governments come and go. You know, Democrats come, Republicans come, they go, they come back, go away, right? But there's some basic things which everybody has noticed. I've really noticed because I'm a foreigner. They do not change. Those three things are, you know, healthcare, immigration problem, climate. They just don't change. There's a lot of talk, and the action is kind of like little, you know, sometimes a little more, sometimes nothing at all. And I think that's what American people have to really concentrate, not on one party and the other party.
Erin, you do a lot of adaptations on your own. I believe your partner wrote Animal Farm, did he not, based on the book, right?
Yes, they did. They did. Yes.
Yeah. And your Midsummer Night's Dream was absolutely marvelous. Some of the graphics were stunning. I mean, really, and getting that going on Zoom is really a job.
We had so much fun doing that because we really got to play with the medium. There were so many things because we were recording it instead of doing it in a live theater where we could use technology in ways we had never imagined. So though we did perform it live, but we just had the technology supported us being able to do that through Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Well,
how did you adapt to Zoom in the first place? How did you, think from, doing theater like twice a year to putting on, transitioning to Zoom?
Well, we typically do 4 to 6 plays in a year, and we just looked at our season and thought we can't let this be it. So we started thinking about what would be some way to deliver online, and found that Zoom would be the easiest way. And of course, we're like thousands of other theater companies who have done the same thing. We certainly weren't innovative in that respect, but we're always trying to push the envelope as much as we can and try to do plays that make a difference and try to answer the question, why theater? Why is theater so important, and what can we be doing to keep it alive?
I think it said it best in Dog Act. They're the plays of the theater is a translator of the soul. I love that line so much.
Yes.
Now that things are opening up more, do you have plans for doing an in-person, like back in the theater show soon?
Because we work with Actors Equity, we're waiting for clearance from Actors Equity, and the safety protocol right now is very, very challenging. So as of right now, we're not planning on opening up until things become safer. We're hoping to do something live toward the end of the year when more people are vaccinated, and it's more common to be doing live work. But we'll be supporting all of our fellow theater companies who are working outdoors, and we'll continue to work on Zoom in the meantime.
More platforms are being developed based on Zoom that are now designed for our work. I mean, for theater work. In order to, for instance, I'm using one, and we may be using that soon on our program here, called StreamYard. StreamYard allows only the person that is hosting needs the software. Anybody else can load in from anywhere under any circumstances. And it's very, very easy to use. You can put up pretty pictures in the background. You can have fires, videos and all sorts of things like that. It's being designed for our kind of work rather than just business meeting. And it's really working quite well. StreamYard is that one. But highly recommended if you want to look into those. They're getting more and more adaptable.
Yes, I've heard of those, and we're looking into that, and we're looking into OBS as another similar platform to stream through. Yes.
Yeah, sounds grand. Thank you so very much, Erin, for coming to joining us today. I'm sorry we have to, move on because we don't have too much time. But you do wonderful, wonderful things. One of the first things I ever reviewed when I reviewed was your the city versus the
People versus Antigone.
The People versus Antigone.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes, and I believe your partner wrote that. Did he not too? Or adapted that, and that's one of the first things I ever reviewed, and I just thought it was terrific at the time. I really, really liked it, and the way that you modernized it and did it was so clever. So good for you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me on today.
And thank you so much, Eva.
And this is a perfect segue for our next guest, which is Craig Smith, who has a Phoenix Theater Ensemble, which just like Erin Cronican has managed to go from regular theater to Zoom and using the Zoom platform brilliantly. But Phoenix has been around for decades and decades, and you have gone through fire and brimstone and still kept it up. I mean, how long have you been going? You started off at the Cocktail Theater on Bowery Lane, which I think is now a clothing store. Then you start your own company. You appear in Wild Project all the time and other theaters on 4th Street. I mean, how do you do it? And you're succeeding in Zoom world.
Well, thank you, Eva, and thank you for having me on today. It's really lovely being here and lovely listening to Erin. Erin, if you have a copy of Dog Act, a recording, I would love to see that. That sounds absolutely wonderful. And your work is very similar kind of to the work that the Phoenix does. We do classics, and we also do adaptations of classics and adaptations of classical texts that would be appropriate for the theater. Yeah, we've been around a long time. I was one of the founding members of the Jean Cocteau Repertory way back in the 1970s in the East Village. And then we started Phoenix Theater Ensemble in 2004. So we've been around about 17 years. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's always been a challenge. But every time that we think about stopping or something like that, I always have the impulse to want to do a play. If I'm not directing something, if I'm not acting in something or producing in something, life seems kind of boring. So I have this drive to do theater and do plays.
And we have a drive to see theater. So, and like you did the Domino Heart, which was also extremely good for Zoom because it was monologues. And it's one of my favorite genres is following something like the red violin or the yellow rose voice.
It actually put us in a little bit of a conundrum. One of the tenets that we've always had is that we would do plays that demanded to be done in a theater. That's something we've always talked about, something that would not necessarily be done on film or television, but we've always done plays that really demanded to be done in a theater, in the architecture of a theater. So when the pandemic comes around and all of a sudden you can't do that anymore, then it becomes rather difficult, doesn't it? So we reassess things. This was written by Matthew Edison, who as a young man came out of Stella Adler, and he was in our production of Mother Courage at the Cocteau years ago, and he played Swiss cheese. And then he went on, he's a Canadian, and he went on and is an actor in Canada, very, very highly regarded actor. And he wrote this play. He wrote this play as a young man, this play, Domino Heart. And we knew about it, and we talked about it, and it wasn't necessarily a great fit for us because we tend to do really kind of classical stuff. But then when Zoom came around, we remembered the structure of this play, and we thought, okay, this would really work well, where it's kind of confessional. It's very intimate, and Zoom does that. There are many good things about Zoom is that you can really focus the audience. The audience is looking at that character who's talking. There's no distraction. So you've got the text, and you've got and you get the impression that character is talking directly and only to you, and that's special. So those are the things that we kind of try to take advantage of, and Domino Heart worked really well, and we were pleased with it. There are many things that have come out of Zoom, which are good. One of the things is that we are looking to, in our ensemble members, is having a director of online programming. We hadn't talked about that before. Trying to find other projects like the Domino Heart or things that are outside of the theatrical structure, where we did the interview about Tennessee Williams. We did 2 evenings of classical actors telling hilarious stories about their mishaps and bloopers and things that happened to them on stage, and it was very free floating and lots of fun. So that was different, and audiences really enjoyed that kind of thing. So there's other programming that we can do that is outside of our traditional programming, and I don't know totally what those are yet, but this has opened up new avenues, new venues for us. And then of course, playing to a much wider geographical audience. As you know, we're playing to people in the UK, we're people in North Dakota, people in New Mexico, people in California. This, of course, is something that we've never been able to do before. And these are people who have donated to us and given us money. I mean, it's a whole new ball game, and it's very interesting.
You can use actors from all of these places too, which is I'm doing something at the moment, and one of my actors is in Minneapolis.
Absolutely, and those are things that we had not thought of before. It hadn't really crossed our minds to try to do something like that. So
even when you go live again, which do you have any idea when? Like we asked Erin the same question. Are you still going to keep on doing Zoom projects?
we would like
to.
to.
Repertoire.
Yeah, we will continue to do some online programming of some sort. Exactly what that will be, we don't know. We will be seriously looking for programming that will fit well into that medium. And we will continue to do that while we are also doing live things. And picking up on what Erin said as well, we started producing also in Rockland County. So we produce in New York City, and we also produce in Rockland County. We have been planning a performing arts festival in Rockland County in Nyack for the last 2 years. It was going to be in the fall of 2020, but then COVID happened. So then we had to cancel that. So then we were going for the September and October of 2021, thinking surely everything's going to be fine by that time. And now we are looking at the AEA protocol and all of that, and we don't see how we can really go forward with it the way things are right now, even in September and October. And these are outdoor performances. It would be at the height of the fall foliage season in the Hudson Valley. And it would be Wild as the Skin of Our Teeth outdoors, and the Rockland Symphony Orchestra outdoors, another performance by Phoenix, a new look at the importance of being earnest, and an immersive program downtown in Nyack, really taking advantage of the village of Nyack. So we have this really ambitious program going forward, been fundraising for it, really kind of ready to go. But we can't afford to have private cars for all of our actors. We found a boutique hotel which is going to donate housing for our actors. But the protocol really says that each room has to basically be sterilized every night before the next one comes in. And we can't ask the hotel to do that. So this has put everything in a real holding pattern right now. And I don't want to be beating up on Equity. Equity is trying to protect its members, and it's important. And while the other unions, AFTRA and SAG, have been able to move forward, and everybody says, well, they're moving forward, why isn't Actors Equity doing it? Well, in theater, we have live audiences. Yeah. And this puts a lot of people at risk. So we have to take precautions. But these are all the things that we're dealing with right now. We really look forward to doing this in Rockland County. The village of Nyack was devastated by the pandemic. Businesses going out of business permanently, empty storefronts, things like this. This is a picturesque, beautiful village, and the president of the Chamber of Commerce said that he saw that the restoration of arts is a way for economic restoration for these communities. And so we picked up on that, and we really, we're, as well as promoting the festival and promoting Phoenix, we are promoting Rockland County as well, to get people to come up 25 miles up the Hudson and see this beautiful, beautiful village, to see the performing arts, and maybe stay the night and see a second show the next day, that type of thing. So we hope this will be annual, so that has been taken up so much of my energy and efforts over the last 2 years, actually.
And Bina has to say something a little bit about Theater for the New City.
So whichever, whoever you want to introduce first, go ahead.
Well, let Bina do something about Theater for the New City first.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, let me introduce you. What's it called? Bina, what's it called? Open Door Policy? What's the theater thing they do called?
No, it's called Open Thou Shut,
Open Door
Open
Shut.
Thou Shut.
Okay.
Yeah, thou.
All right.
Okay.
So
Crystal Field, actually I recommended that you should interview Crystal Field sometimes on this program, but she's very innovative. What she has done is they have a big garage. They have turned that into theater because the garage doors open out on the East 10th Street. So the public, the audience stays on the street, and the performers, they perform in the garage. But they've made this stage and they put lights and there's a sound and everything. Quite fun. Actually last Saturday I performed there after 1 year. And I was like, my God, will I be able to do anything because I'm so rustic, And it was really, really nice. And they've been doing it for like last 6 or 7 months. And they wanted people who have the COVID test and they're negative or they have vaccine. So I finally got the vaccine. So, I will.
And that's on
You
Saturday,
should go. There's 2 o'clock
every Saturday at 2
every
o'clock. They have
Saturday,
some-
2 o'clock,
Usually it's Kobu drums. and
East
someone
10th
performs
Street between First and
musical,
Second,
and-
very close to First.
Are they,
Yeah, and they do music, they had a Japanese drum company,
Oh,
which is
cool.
very famous, very loud, they're very much fun. And a lot of other performers, I think last week Phoebe Leger performed, the week before I performed, and a few other people. I think it's a good thing to do because people, now the weather is nice, so people come to see it.
do they
And
follow
they've been missing the live
equity
theater for so
rules,
long.
or is this some other,
This
there's
is what I
another
was
rule
worried about because I'm equity. I'm equity, and like it's no pay, but at the same time, my equity
Wouldn't it
does
be a
not allow
benefit?
guest artists like Erin explained. You have to have a contract. But this was a very short piece I did, and I didn't even talk about it. Nobody talked about it.
And some other things coming up is Michael Colby's, they're doing his musical, They Chose Me at Value Theater, April 3rd, 9th, and 11th. And also Broadwaycon is coming up April 17th through 18th online. We're hopefully on our April 10th show, we'll talk about Broadwaycon more. And then talking about Universal, my friends in England and Spain and New York City, we all got together to do this mystery called Plymouth Point, where we had to find the missing Ivy. And we had a screen share, and we had to go on websites, and we had to track things down. We were terrible at it. They had to constantly prompt us in the right direction, but we had so much fun. And now we also have Jan Ewing to talk about Adjust the Procedure.
Jake Shore's Adjust the Procedure is a tight, well-written drama involving a group of administrators at a large unnamed university in New York City. Set during the pandemic, it is a Zoom business meeting, so realistic and well acted that one can imagine something like it hasn't taken place at half the educational institutions in the country. All of us have struggled to keep things moving during the past year, and those upon whom people depend have had a particularly difficult time. In many instances, it's the first exposure to death for a vast number of us, and when it is suggested that an administrator working from a kitchen table might have inadvertently contributed to a fatality, it can be life-altering. That's the premise here. The staff is encumbered by procedures that were put in place during a different time. Those things are not working, so who is to blame? Should they be ignored? Should they be reported? Where does responsibility ultimately fall? Adjust the Procedure is highly political, not only as that applies to educational institutions, but to any hierarchical organization. It's a fascinating look at the sorts of things that have to be considered by people in any position of authority. It's good for people to know those things, how they work in real life, and this play is an excellent example of that. A happy face all around.
Thank you, Jan. And now here we have Jay Michaels with Indie Influencer. And also, I just want to personally say thank you to the nice things he said to me last show. I don't hear him until afterwards, so I hear it at the same time you do. So I was just as surprised as you were. So take it away, Jay.
This is Jay Michaels, and this is Indie Influencer on High Drama. Now, riddle me this, Batman. Since this pandemic, there has been one four-letter word that we all scream, shout, mutter, whisper, think about. Whenever we're about to start a play, a song, a presentation, a reading, or anything like that. What word is it? Oh no, we've said that one, but it doesn't have to be just for theater. No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Oh, get your mind out of the gutter. That's terrible. Anyway, give up? The word is Zoom. Now, Zoom video communications was started in California in 2011, but it took the pandemic to make it part of the same vernacular that gave us such words as Google. Zoom has allowed theater to flourish when even no theaters were open. But if you take a really good look at Zoom, it has done so much more for art and entertainment. It's leveled the playing field so that Broadway personalities and emerging artists both share the same little box and the same chance to woo an audience. Think about it. It allowed creativity to expand immediately by opening a door to small budget companies and to those whose revenue has dried up because of this pandemic. So now one play or one entire season can be done with the click of a mouse. It's created casts, allowing people around the country and around the world to be part of showcases and other presentations. In my production of A Doll's House, which opens in April, my Torvald currently is in Ireland. And a dear friend of mine who resides in California has finally got a chance to do my productions. He's already done 2 of them. It has also allowed not only theater to become a hybrid to film, but it's created a de facto course for every actor to learn how to play to the camera. And finally, my favorite, I have screamed and screamed and screamed of the fragility of off Broadway, that a show can open up in a festival, run 3 performances, and disappear entirely. But that's not the case anymore. John Barrymore, one of the greatest Shakespearean actors of the 20th century, has about a half a dozen to a dozen recordings of his masterful work for us to access. Thanks to Zoom, how many do you have? This is Jay Michaels for Indie Influencer on Zoom on High Drama.
I want to thank our guests once more and their wonderful theater companies that have kept us entertained for decades. And our next show is April 10th. And like I said, hopefully we'll talk about Broadwaycon. That's still going on. Yay.
Thank you so much for coming. It was a really, really lovely meeting. And lots of good information. And here's everyone. And thank you so very much.